So I'm wondering how many of us would agree with me that the government cannot do anything without us here. Yeah. So what I mean is that the sovereignty of a nation is with its citizens. And so the government only derives its power from us. Are we together? Yeah. And so I'll just share with you a little story. So in my early days of practice, after the third year, I practiced between 1 to 3 years. I was in Port Harcourt. I'm also a Dio boy, so yeah. So in Port Harcourt before I moved to Abuja. And so one of the things we did was I collaborated with the MBA Port Harcourt, MBA Omok, because as a young boy those days, I would see that during elections, that's when they only remember most of us in Diobu. Only at elections. So after the elections, they move. So it is election, we know where to get them. But after election, they now move to the other side. You know, one of the speakers said there's a line between Diobu and a line. Remember? Yeah, so after election, they go to the line. Then in election, then they now come to our side, yeah. So I told myself, I said, okay, I would, you know, in my own little quota, see how I can affect and how I can, you know, try to change the narrative. And so what we did with the MBA Omoko branch first, before we came to Port Harcourt MBA, was, this was before 2015 elections. So we got some of the people that had told us, you know, we started getting involved with political parties. So some of us decided to now join a political party. Some of us decided to now join some of these civil society groups. Because as a citizen, even if you have all the ideas, even if you want to cause the change as a single person, you may not be able to. You can only write, you can only post from that your little corner, but the effect will not go as far as you're going with a group of persons. Do you understand? Yeah. So what I did was, I decided to join a party. So from there, my voice would also be heard. So if somebody wants to, I'll use my guy here because I believe that we're going to be collaborating after now. So let's say Ace is in my party and Ace wants to contest for the next governor of the state. And so the only way I would reach him is if I joined his party, which was what some of us did. So I joined that party and we started asking questions. Oh, you want to be this, you want to be the next, you want to represent us in our constituency, Falga. So what are your plans? What do you know, what are your plans, your goals? So if we give you this opportunity, what can you do for us? And so I'm here encouraging everyone listening to me, for you to be able to, as a law-abiding citizen, for you to be able to cause that change. Because elections are not just won on social media. I'm tired of the next election is coming. So we start hitting the government, we start talking, all of us start, you know, and when it's time for election, most of us don't even come out to vote. My encouragement this morning is that elections begin now. So my story is, we started engaging those persons that had said they want to contest. What are your goals? What if we bring you in on board? What will you do? How will you create the change? How will you affect lives? So let's leave the state as a whole. Constituency, we have our councillors, we have our local government chairmen, we have the people representing us in our various House of Assembly constituencies. And if I take a census here now, if I point a hand and say, who is representing your constituency in River State as House of Assembly? Most of us don't know. I say, we are laughing. But that's where the change begins. You need to start getting involved. You need to tell yourself, okay, enough is enough. I will not just be a social media Nigerian. I will not just be a social media law-abiding citizen. I also would start getting involved. And one of the ways to get involved is what we're doing. So there's something called voters education. So we need to start belonging to groups where we learn how votes are being counted, how invalid vote happens, how valid vote happens. And we also need to start educating ourselves how to, so on the election day, how they count. And after the counting, you know, some of us, the last election, we got a song, LUP, sorry guys, I'm using that, LUP. You know, it was funny. But Elections were counted, results were counted there, all of us saw it. Then there's something called coalition, where after that one that is being done at the polling unit, there's a greater one. It's a greater one, and that's where some manipulation, that's where the magic happens. Now, you as a law-abiding citizen, you may not be able to create or cause that change. Let me give you an expo, guys. The only way you'll be able to move beyond your polling unit, get involved with a civic society. So it gives you the opportunity that after the polling unit, you can also move as an observer, move to the coalition center. You can also start, for some of us that because everybody cannot be in that group. So if you go and belong to that group and you move as an observer to the coalition center, if there's a mago, you are there representing us, you're tweeting, you're telling us. See, the government knows that we have the greater power. And that's why they don't want us to know this. You cannot give what you don't have. We know that, right? So if you don't know your right, you cannot express, you can't give it. So it is your fundamental right to, I was going to say something on the Freedom Act, but it's going to cost a lot of this, so I would advise not to say it. But let me tell you something. Even though we have the Freedom Act where you are at liberty to express, to say some things, you need to join a group so that from your little corner, your voice can now be amplified properly. Are we together? So first, you have an idea. Second, you now join a group that helps your idea to be well amplified. And so you get, you have the opportunity to know how to vote. Now, some of us too, when you join this group, you know, votes is not just your vote, it's our vote. So you also have the opportunity to now start teaching our older people. You know, a lot of us don't know that at the election day, we have, Auntie Hilda is here, she'll tell us, loads of invalid votes. And for me, it was painful, especially in Lagos, Etiosa. It was painful because I saw young people like me, they didn't even know how to press it. They were all excited. This government must go. They were just, and we had loads of, so we wanted to scream like, you didn't vote nonsense. But we didn't have the opportunity because, you know, a lot of talks and that. But if we all come out and start getting involved, start educating people from now, create environment, create a good environment where we tell them, see, now this storm, see how you go press them. See how if you do them like this, you will have. So people will get to know this. People will get educated. Now, as a law-abiding citizen, I'll also encourage you that if you get educated, you get involved with your civic responsibility, you belong to these groups where your voice is being amplified, and election comes. After the election, what happens? So this is where I'll draw the line. A lot of us, we get too emotional with things. It's good that we want a good country for ourselves. But if you heard me clearly, I said, it is not on that day we can create a change. The change starts from now, getting involved. But even if your desired result didn't happen the way you had thought. I took my dad to the government house hospital a few days ago, and I drove through Port Harcourt Council. It was looking like a graveyard because my mates were allowed to be used by these guys that did not remember us to cause a chaos. Now, there's something called acceptance. There's what they call rule of law. So if the result does not turn out to how you had thought, if you are well informed, you will not go and fight, or you will not allow yourself to be used. Because during the pre-election process, you already know your rights, you already know how, so if you have all the evidence, you had gathered evidence, the post-election, you have little or nothing to do except approaching a court of competent jurisdiction or a tribunal, as the case may be. If you have all the evidence during the pre-election, because you know what to do, you have evidences, you have your people together with you, guys that worked as a team, you're either NGO or group and all. What's election time? All you need to do, instead of going to break, instead of going to cause chaos, instead of going to create menace and what is called, you simply approach the court. The court works with facts, the court works with evidences, and the court works with the law. The fact is the story, evidence is what you attach to the story, then what does the law say? And if you have a good story, you have a very clear evidence, the law is there. You win it hands down. So my encouragement to young people like me is that it is in our hand. We can create the change. So the next election is coming, guys. I would encourage you, don't sleep on it. Start now. Get educated on how to vote. Start now. Know your civic responsibility, your civic duties. Your voice can also be amplified. Your voice can be heard too. Thank you very much.